any names, but some of the guys knew that window was short. Now, we didn't know at the time how short that window was, but they knew inside the room, and they told me after the fact. They knew that the window was short. This team, I couldn't agree with you more. This isn't a it better happen this year or it's never going to happen type of situation. No, it starts with Brad. What Brad's been able to do, bring all the young talent in here, and you cannot stress enough the word that you just used. Culture. Yeah. I say it all the time. Guys, I've been in that locker room from 1995 all the way to 2020. I cannot tell you how many times walking out of that locker room in November, everybody in the media and a lot of the players are going, oh my gosh, we got another month and a half of this. Right? I mean, the season was over for all intents and purposes, and that culture has changed. There's an expectation here. And Anson, to that, I say, brace the expectation. Brace the expectation. This is the moment that I don't care how old you are, we've all been waiting for this moment. And the moment's here. Now, it's up to them to go fulfill that destiny. Make no mistake about that. But I don't want to think about other collapses in the past. That has nothing to do with this team. Let this team write their own chapters moving forward.
No doubt about it. And we saw another one of those chapters written over the weekend during their preseason game. We've got a lot to talk about the Lions, but we are here at the DGC at the Children's Miracle Celebrity Invitational. And we've got some awesome sponsors for this event. There's a huge board over there, and we've got some representatives from Corewell Health here that we're going to bring in just a second. Chat with them and their involvement here, as well as their presence and responsibilities that they have in the great state of Michigan. Basically, our largest health provider at this point. So as soon as you guys want to hook them up with a microphone, we'll get them over here and get them going. But we do have quite a few things to talk about the Lions. Obviously, tomorrow's cut day. We got college football that started over the weekend. We've got a nearly 500 baseball club again, first time since June. And I know that Sean and I are looking very much forward to going through all of these awesome surprise guests that we have here today at this amazing tournament. So I don't know. I really can't wait to hear this list with you because I know that there's some guys that got you excited. There's certainly some guys that got me really excited. Heck, I even brought in some cards from the 80s that I've had for 30-plus years. Otis Birdsong and Ron Harper are here. Maybe I'll run into him. Maybe get
He's got them in the plastic, too. I mean, didn't we live it? Remember when they came in the 9s? It was the 333. I had so many of those books.
The binders,
baby.
The
Absolutely.
Binders. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, yeah, we're excited out here. How long does this go on? Is it just today? Do you know? It is just today.
It is just today. Boy, they pack it up, though, don't they?
No doubt about it.
Just a ton of people out here. It's amazing. It's one of those things who you see people walking by, and I know that dude.
Yeah.
I know that dude. You know, it's so many moments like that catch you.
Yeah, we had a couple of a bad boy and a going to work piston walk by. Yep. Shout out Buddha Edwards and our very own Lindsey Hunter. So
great dude.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic start, and I just wish I would have been here early in the morning to see some of these guys walking around, see how they hit it off the tee. And they had a noon shotgun start, so those guys are out there for a couple more hours. We're gonna hang with you here and keep you in the loop up until that point when they come back.
Yeah, I believe we have a guest sitting with us right now. Are we going to the guest right now?
Yes, we do. And this is, I believe this is Lamont Yoder.
Yes.
You, Lamont? Welcome in. This is Lamont Yoder from Corewell Health. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Fantastic. So I'm just kind of looking at some of your history of your organization. It sounds like 2 years ago, Beaumont and Spectrum Health, two of the largest healthcare providers in the state, came together to make something even greater for the people of Michigan.
Yeah, I was just listening to you talk about culture, and the culture of Beaumont, rich in history here in southeastern Michigan, culture of Spectrum, rich in history in the western part of Michigan, coming together. Really, it's the same physicians, nurses we've had for decades here that just are revered in the community, but joining together in a way that could even make things better and bigger for Michigan and in the state. It's just been an incredible journey watching those two organizations come together and build on everything great in the history of both of them, and serving the community, what it's all about, our nonprofit mission of really improving health, instilling humanity, and inspiring hope for people in our community.
And Lamont, it's interesting because I think a lot of times when people hear the entities are going to get together like this, they think, oh, what? I can, nothing's changed. Like, I still see my doctor. I have a different place that I have to sign in now, but it's not as complicated as I think sometimes people tend to make it to be.
Yeah, no, that's right. We still have Beaumont in some of our names, and it's, all the folks inside every day say, do you have a Beaumont doctor from years? And everybody knows all about that because we still are Beaumont, Oakwood, Bon Secours, a history of that. But we're also excited about the culture of the future and the new, and that's continuing our mission of impacting lives, but doing it in a way that leverages all of our strengths together in an insurance network with Priority Health, and just continuing to improve, constant improvement, and to be stronger together across the state.
Yeah, and I just keep hearing your name everywhere. You talked about community, but you guys are involved in so much. Beyond just providing top-notch health care for people of Michigan, can you talk about some of the other things that you guys are doing with the community right now?
Yeah, I mean, today is a perfect example, and what we're so excited about today, it's just a day of pride and honestly a day of gratitude, because the number of people in our community, businesses, supporters that have come together, and the end of everything that's happening today, our kids in our community. We're serving over 200,000 children every year through the benefit of the Mark Wahlberg Foundation and Cornwall Health Children's Miracle Network coming together, raising funds for important clinical treatment and equipment that these patients need, but also scholarships for patients and their families. We heard this morning of some of the kids that were here that celebrated some of the biggest challenges they had early in life that they've overcome thanks to the help for so many people in the community that came together and raised funds for kids that needed it and couldn't afford it. So it fulfills us, it energizes and excites us for the future, and it just keeps building every year and getting bigger and making more of an impact in more kids' lives.
Lamont Yoder kindly joining us out here at the beautiful DGC. We got lucky with the weather. You never know what you're going to. A little warm. Let's say, Lamont, I think, a little warm. Little warm. But you know what? This time of year, I think we all know.
Late summer rally.
Right, yeah, a little late summer rally, at least the rain's staying away. No, you mentioned it. Listen, this is a day of fun and food and golf, and it's hard sometimes to remember that as we're watching all the celebrities go by, why you guys are out here, why all these celebrities are giving of their time, and that's to once again give back. And I'm a firm believer that there's something about this area, I don't know what it is. This area just gives and gives and gives, and I'm sure you found that to be the case.
No, it's amazing. The commitment, the level of history and engagement and the commitment in the community in Southeast Michigan to give back and to help support their communities is it's rewarding. It's amazing. It's overwhelming at times, but it's also a whole lot of fun, because at the end of every single golf swing and hit and ball flying, hopefully somewhat straight down the fairway today, is a children's life. Child's life at the end of everything that's happening here today, and everybody can be extraordinarily proud to be out here and supporting that today.
Lamont, I can't let you get out of here without at least talking a little bit of sports. Now, are you a native Michigander?
Awesome. So my dad, born and raised in Midland, Saginaw, relatives in Livonia. I was born and raised just west of Toledo, but I grew up visiting grandpa, grandma, uncles, cousins, and going to Lions and Tigers games. And as soon as we relocated back here again, feeling like coming back home just a few months ago, went to the Red Wings game, the last game, down to overtime and tie and screaming, and we have revived our Lions and Tigers gear again after being 10 and 12 years old the last time I went to games. So we relocated outside of this area and are back home and settled back into the community. Kids going to high school next week, and just grateful and thrilled to be here. And at a time that's like, wow, incredible resurgence of Detroit, right? And my kids cannot stop listening to me talk about 10, 12, 14 years old. A few more years ago than I want to claim at this point, but talking to them about those amazing experiences, and now to see them experiencing that at this time is just super energizing and exciting. And I'm telling you, I have friends from healthcare all around the country because of my career in healthcare, and everyone knows, like, wow, you're going back there at the perfect time. Yes. Detroit is on the road, on the map, and people around the country, we've got Lions fans all over the place that are just revering this time right now.
I'm going to get his back. You can't fake enthusiasm. When Anson and I were getting all fired up a few minutes ago, ago talking about the Lions, I could feel his smile. The temperature, it got about 5 degrees hotter in here because I could see him grinning ear to ear and all that. Hey, for just in case, I know people would love to be out here. They can't be out here. If there's a way, if people are able to help out, to be a part of this without being out here, can you let people know how they can still do that?
Yep, absolutely. You can go to Corwell Health Children's Miracle Network. You can see that online, and you can support us through there.
Outstanding.
Appreciate that.
Great stuff. Lamont, seriously, this is a great day. Can't thank you
awesome.
and the Feldman people for having us out here. This is fantastic to be just a very small part of something so great in the community. And
We
continued
appreciate
success,
it.
man.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm holding you to it, Lamont.
Awesome.
Give me your Super Bowl two teams. Who's in it?
We're going to be there for sure.
Okay.
Lions, and I want to see us beat the Ravens.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
I think that'd be fun.
I would like that. Let somebody else beat the Chiefs. I still have Chief fear, so if somebody else beats the Chiefs, I'm with you. Let's go.
Yeah, to see Baltimore and Detroit,
Oh,
the two cities.
It would be so fun.
Yes,
Oh.
it would. Yes, it would be. A lot of pride in that weekend.
Awesome.
Great stuff. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much for joining
Appreciate
us.
it.
Lamont
Appreciate
Yoder
you.
again, Corwell doing so many great things in the community. And a day like this is just absolutely perfect. Boy, that breeze can stick around, Anson.
Yes, it
if
certainly
it
can.
wants to. I know it's hurting the microphone a little bit, but it's cooling things off for us to be sure.
Certainly. Some serious sun on our back right now. So I'm curious.
Yes, sir.
How in tune and how interested have you been in the Lions preseason? Because for me, I have caught every game, and I have watched them with a level of intrigue that I have never found in any other preseason contest for any other team that I follow.
I have a really weird dichotomy, and I have felt this way for about 20 years, okay? And I think it comes with age. On one hand, I'm going to tell you right now, what happens in the preseason means absolutely nothing. It doesn't. I'm sorry. If you want to try to make it mean something, you can go right ahead. I think you're wasting your time. Stop. On the other hand, I'm all in. Both things can be true here. I don't put anything into it. I think when you have a team especially like this, I don't believe for a second that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell didn't know months ago exactly what this team was going to look like. Now, that doesn't mean that one or two jobs can't be won or lost, as the case may be, but I think the majority of this squad was already up here a couple months ago. But at the same time, yes, I watch. Of course I watch. You have to watch. It's the Lions. I've always said, going back to the time that my kids were little, if you're a young parent out there, it's the best time to take your kids to a game.
Certainly.
It is. You don't get the crazy crowd, except this last week. You don't get the crazy crowd. Go down there, have a great time. It's a welcome to the Lions and everything. But, I mean, I'll ask you, and I know KG's here and Petey's here. What do you take from this exhibition season? Do you feel any different about the Lions one way or another after watching these 3 exhibition games? I think the answer is a definitive no, fellas.
I mean, not the ones, but Hendon Hooker, I'm sold on him.
I feel more confident. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's fair. That's fair.
He brings a whole new element to this Lions offense, being able to run the ball like he did. 9.3 yards a carry, almost 90 yards on the ground. I don't think that's nothing to sneeze at. Of course, there are some things he needs to clean up. It wasn't a perfect outing, but from what I saw, if he had to come in for Jared Goff, so be it. I feel like with the first-team offense, he can win multiple games, and I'm willing to go out on that ledge and say that.
As long as there isn't a catastrophic injury changes everything, because I'm a firm believer you lose your starter in the National Football League way more often than not. Kiss your season goodbye. Really. I mean, and I know there are exceptions to that rule. You know, Foles obviously, Hostetler back in the day with the Giants when he replaced Sims. But I'm with you. If God forbid even 3-4 games, Goff is out. Is Hendon Hooker capable of going out there with the Lions once, the rest of the ones, and winning 2, maybe 3, going 3-1? Anson, I absolutely think so.
Yeah, I would say definitively that the Lions can win 2 out of 4 games with Hendon Hooker under center. Now, what you're going to sacrifice if you were to lose Goff for a stretch is that chemistry.
Yeah.
But what you gain is what KG spoke to, and that's the athleticism at quarterback that we haven't seen since Andre Ware, Mike McMahon, two guys that did not have arms, that weren't able to read defenses, weren't able to truly move a team consistently throughout a game. But what I've seen out of Hendon Hooker over these 3 games is constant improvement.
Yeah.
Now, in this last game, he struggled in that first quarter mightily. And I love that they left him in as long as they did, because each game, we've seen him make a mistake. But then we've seen him come back, make up for it. And realistically, whether he's the last quarterback taking snaps or not, this guy has led this team to wins. Now, talking about what you mentioned earlier, this not mattering, we were 4-0 in the preseason the same year that we went 0-16. But what I've seen out of this team is, A, we have an organizational depth that is, it's ocean deep.
Yep.
We have never seen that kind of depth. So there's a lot of intrigue in seeing what guys we're going to not be able to keep on this roster. What guys we might be able to slip through the practice squad. Because as we've talked over the last couple of weeks, there are so many guys on this team that aren't going to make it to the practice squad. There's going to be other teams poaching some of these players the same way that as Lions fans, we looked forward to this time of the season because we were doing the same thing. So I think from that side, we get a chance to look at a lot of these fringe players. We get a chance to look at, a little bit more of Sione Vaki and some of the other running backs. We've got a great opportunity to look at Jamar Jefferson, who we'll talk about here in just a moment. But with Hendon Hooker, with just the makeup of the defensive line with our secondary, we had to get some idea of where these guys slotted in and how they're going to start, how they're going to rotate. So, again, we're not hanging our hat on our record in the offseason. But I think that this was the most important offseason that we've ever had for the Lions because, again, you're not trying to see who's starting. You're trying to see who we're keeping.
You got it.
Yeah.
That's exactly. By the way, this is true. You guys can fact check me. You know there have been 2 0-16 teams in the NFL, right? Do you know what they have in common?
What?
They were both 4-0.
Yeah.
In the exhibition season.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing how that works?
Never.
That doesn't mean, listen, the Browns as well.
Yeah.
Listen, that doesn't mean there aren't questions. Okay, right now, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. The secondary is a question. It is. I don't know.
Until we see it, yeah.
Right. I don't know. Now, this is the difference. This is the difference between now and past regimes. I am not going to get in the line that question Brad Holmes. I'm not getting in that line. If Brad Holmes goes out and makes the moves he did, okay, and he did so for a reason, and Brad Holmes feels those moves are good, until I see they aren't good, I'm going to go ahead and take my chances that Brad Holmes is right. But that doesn't mean that it's not without questions. And KG, as you said, until we see it, I'll feel a lot better when I see it.
Yeah.
I have faith because of the cachet that Brad Holmes has made. I have faith that those are the answers. But that's a we're going to have to see it type of situation.
No, and at least on paper, it seems like Aaron Glenn finally has the pieces that he wanted in this defense all along.
Yep.
So that's why on paper I feel more confident going into the season, just based off personnel. We finally got the man corners that are needed for the system he likes to run. Now, they are rookies, they are young, but we need to see on the field how it's going to translate. But I think they got the right mix of veterans in there. You add a Meek Robertson, you add a Carlton Davis and things of that nature. I think we're in pretty good position. It definitely won't be Sutton toast like last year. I think we could all agree with that.
Yeah, and so the Lions did beat the Steelers over the weekend 24-17 if you didn't get a chance to watch the game. This was a game that was played to the wire, and we got a chance to see Jake Fromm come in, who's not going to be making this team, but I think that the Lions would love to see him make it to their practice squad. At the same point, they did him a favor by showcasing him in case another team wants to pick him up. The Rams coming in 9-8, the 8th of September, first game of the year, rematch of the playoff, first-round matchup, which saw the prodigal son return home. I'm worried about this game, Sean.
Oh, you have to be. And you know, some of the things that we just talked about, the Lions secondary is a let's wait and see type of thing. There are a couple guys that might be able to exploit that, Ants, and I think Pete, our boss, Pete is the boss today. He clarified that early on.
Good job,
At about
Pete.
1:10,
Yes,
he
did.
announced to everybody, he put his arms out. It was like Moses.
I'm the boss.
Parting the Red Sea, and he said, I'm the boss today. And we all said, yes, sir. So if Pete says we have to take a break, we have to take a break.
All right, let's do it.
All right, guys.
Woodward Sports.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
All right, welcome back out here to the DGC. Beautiful day out here. This is such a fantastic event, and nice to see some familiar faces out here. Dawn Kelly's always walking around with a big smile on her face. And that like, seriously, let's go back to culture, right? Culture. If you're walking around like somebody who doesn't want to be here, guess what? People aren't going to want to be here. But you walk around with a big smile on your face. Another guy that has a big smile on his face, and I want him to know I'm not kissing his behind because he can look up the numbers. We got my daughter's Bolt from Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, so we're very happy with that. But Jay Feldman kindly joining us out here, and Jay, this is such a special day, such a special event, and this year, without exception, what a great showing so far out here at the DGC.
Well, first of all, thank you for the business, most importantly, because that's how we make all this happen. But no, it's super exciting. It's our fourth year. Every year it keeps getting bigger. And every year we try and figure out ways to make it even bigger than the following, the previous year. We're going to start planning next year's event tomorrow. The money goes to the best cause ever, children. Yeah. And, all these families that have, their kids with ailments and, the parents suffer the most to watch their kids, ill and money doesn't solve everything, but it sure helps when, you can, buy things that or invent things that help kids and make them better. So really exciting event. 200,000 families affected by what we do in Southeast Michigan. We sell a lot of cars, we service a lot of cars, and this gives us an opportunity to give back to the community through an event like this.
I'm looking at the history of your organization here. You guys started off in 1996 over in Highland, Michigan, and you've grown to now 20 locations in 3 states. I want to hear your point of view in terms of watching this area and Detroit grow up and how things have changed while you guys have been in business.
It's interesting. I started out with one small Chevrolet store in Milford, Michigan, and just, grew the business. And I always wanted to do something like this. I saw other, businesses, prominent business leaders in Metro Detroit or prominent dealer groups that, put together, huge charitable events and foundations. And, I really just figured out that, if you get to the size where you can contribute back to the community in a big way, that you should do it. And it's exciting and we love it. But, obviously Metro Detroit's changed for a positive over the last 15 years. A lot of, prominent business leaders have reinvested in the city. And so it's great. Obviously, Detroit's on more than a comeback. I mean, there's, multi-billion-dollar buildings under construction downtown and more to come, hotels and residential and restaurants and even a couple car dealerships here and there. And so, no, really exciting. And just this is going to be a long-term, lifelong project for us.
Jay, I'd love to hear you say that. Before you came on, I think there was probably 10, 15 years where you heard a lot of people say Detroit is back. Well, it's one thing to say Detroit is back, and it's another thing to show people Detroit is back. And, I mean, the showing that we made for the draft, you come out to an event like this, some of the construction that you're talking about, action speaks a whole heck of a lot louder than words.
Well, I remember this is like almost 20 years ago. I remember I was in Las Vegas and walked in the store in the Forum Shops, and the sales agent asked where we were from, and I said, Detroit. She looked at me, she goes, are you going to be okay? Is everything okay? And now when I tell people we're from Detroit, wherever I go, they're like, it's amazing what's happened in that city, and Dan Gilbert and the comeback and, all the, amazing stuff that's happening. It's a totally different message. So you don't hear any of the negativity anywhere. And so it's exciting. I spend a lot of time downtown, go there for dinner all the time, hang out. There's a lot of great events, like you mentioned, the draft and all that stuff. So I think it's that's ancient history about the what was Detroit and what it is going to be and what it is in the future.
Yeah, same question as we had earlier for Lamont. You're a native Michigander?
Yes.
Okay, so who are your teams and how did that happen?
Say again?
Who are your teams? Are you a Lions guy? Are you a Michigan State or Michigan fan?
Well, I'm not a huge sports fan, but I will tell you I'm super excited for what's going on with the Lions.
Sure.
Obviously everybody's rooting for the Lions, and I think this year is going to be a big year for them. I'm super excited to watch all the games. I think they're one step away from taking it all.
Yep.
And so that's exciting too.
No doubt about it.
Jay Feldman, of course, the Feldman Automotive Group. Tell us about this event. How did this idea come about? How did you get involved with Mark Wahlberg? Go back to, I guess, point A and how this all became the event. And I mentioned it earlier. There are certain events every summer that you put a circle around, and this has become one of them in a short time.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're the largest golf event. We raise the most of any golf event in the state of Michigan now. And, Mark and I met about 9 years ago through a mutual friend. He was here filming Transformers. My friend had a barbecue at his house. I came over there and met Mark briefly. Then we started talking about, Wahlburgers was in its infancy. They had one location open in Massachusetts outside of Boston. I was intrigued by Mark. I said, why don't we, get in the Wahlburgers business together? So we ended up partnering in Cleveland and then just hanging out on a film set with Mark in Boston a year later or so. We started talking about the car business and, possibly buying a car dealership together. And here we are 6 car dealerships later in Ohio, and I'm an investor in Fletcher with Mark, small investor. I was one of the investors in F45 before it went public, 12 Wahlburgers restaurants. And so we become good friends. He's a great guy. I really like hanging out with him. He's a wonderful person and obviously very charitable. And so I got to know his whole family. So I become friends with the whole family and a lot of Mark's friends. And so, it's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah, speaking to the charities and the work that you guys have done together, I'm looking at this board behind you with so many people that have come together from the area to make this the event that it has been and is growing into being. Can you speak a little bit more to the two of you as a team being able to rally all of these people for such a great event?
Well, it's funny. It started out, Mark and Jim and the foundation and, us. And then, we, through Corwell and through a lot of relationships, and then all of our, key board members Obviously, they had a lot of relationships, so it's like it's very organic. We just, people reached out to other people that reach out to other people, and it just takes on a life of its own. And everybody, it's an amazing cause, so it's hard not to, get excited over it. Anything that has to do with children and helping children is sort of an easy sell for most people. So, it's grown and grown and grown. And this year we have some great auction items, so we're hoping to have a more than a record raise. Lot, and all the celebrities that have come, and they come on their own dime, on their own, they're here for their own time. They enjoy it. They think it's a great cause, and so we have a lot of really well-known people come every year, 50 plus celebrities every year. So it's almost it's too bad they don't make a 3-course golf course somewhere. We can make it even bigger than it is.
Amen to that. Jay Feldman, again, kindly joining us. I said the same thing to Lamont Yoder. This is one of those events, just in case there's somebody watching, they didn't get a chance to come out here. They couldn't be a part of it, on site. Is there a way they can get involved? Is there a website that you want to send them to that, hey, if you want to be a part of this, you can still be a part of it?
Yeah, Beaumont.org. And then there's 71777 celebs. Is that what it is? Celebs? Yeah.
Okay.
Lowercase celebs.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
No, that's because
71777 text celebs.
Okay. There you go. See, listen, as this thing continues to get bigger and bigger, and it has in real time, I've had the fortune being out here the last couple of years. Anson, this is the type of situation people are going to be, okay, how can I get out there? How can I be a part of it? You can still be a part of it sitting on your duff at home right now. Check out the website. Certainly be a part of it any way you can.
No doubt about it. We just really thank you guys for putting everything together and bringing all of these people together, from all of those fine sponsors and all of the athletes, everybody here at the DGC, to just make this such a positive event for this year and moving forward.
Yeah, thank you, Woodward Sports, for being part of it. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate
We're
you,
happy
Jay.
to be here.
Great stuff. Now, Jay Feldman and Dawn, thank you, and really just a bunch of great people out here. And listen, I like happiness. I don't know if you know that. I really do. I'm a fan of happiness, and
That's why I've been a fan of you for 25 years.
Thank you. No, but there are a bunch of happy people out here. People smiling, and thanks, Jay. People smiling and having a good time, and
the culture.
And you know what? When you're helping out kids, I think Jay said it best. You say the K word, it's like, okay, I'm in. I always say this, and I'm not joking. Like it's hard for me to remember life before I became a parent. Like I'm not being funny. It's like that's by far the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Like that by far the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And so yeah, that's something near and dear to my heart, and I think a lot of other parents can attest to that.
Well, another thing very near and dear to our heart are these Lions. So we're going to get back to a little bit of that.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk about the Jamar Jefferson deal.
Oh, actually, I have breaking news for you guys that kind of dropped at the top of the show. We didn't have time to discuss it.
Go on.
CeeDee Lamb has become a priority for Jerry Jones. 4 years, $136 million.
So is that 34 a year, huh?
Yes, sir.
And he should be a priority. The number one wide receiver in the NFL last year. This is a team that, you look at them and you look at the 49ers, two teams that you would imagine are in the top 5 in the NFC. And unlike the Lions, who prioritized their big 3 early and set the market with those, and probably even saved a little bit of money, you got to have CeeDee Lamb if you're the Dallas Cowgirls.
You do, but at the same time, Jerry hasn't learned, and I think the rest of the National Football League thanks him for it.
Yeah.
You cannot continue to cash strap your franchise. You can't. There's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. Pardon me if I don't side on the, okay, Jerry screwed this up somehow, because that's what Jerry does side. And when you keep putting out these big contracts, eventually what happens is you walk away from these guys. And we've been using the word culture. We didn't mean to today, but we've been using the word culture a lot. But you know what? Like, honestly, if you're a guy in the league, and you know this from the NBA, word starts to get around.
Oh, no doubt.
Word gets around.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Hey, you better make sure
right.
Get you that guaranteed money. Because let me tell you something. I'm being sincere, and you could talk to former players. The old Detroit Lions had one of those reputations. There's no other way to say it. They did. They're not going to take care of you when it comes time to get that. You're going to get that paycheck. They're not going to take care of you. Jerry will take care of you in the short term, okay? But I think what a lot of guys want is they want that long-term stability. And Jerry signs these contracts and ends up, how many of these contracts has he blown up over the years?
A lot. A few.
I mean, it's amazing when you think about it. So I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to Dallas Cowboy.
Can I just bring up one quick example? The Ezekiel Elliott situation over there in Dallas. Look how he's back. But look how that was handled.
Yep.
Now with this pick, with CeeDee Lamb signing this deal, we know where Dallas is going to be going in the draft. That's a first-round quarterback. You're going to have to pay him. He's digging a bigger hole. He's not getting closer to a title.
No, that's exactly it. So
they're digging a hole for him, all right.
No, for real.
But
ain't no good gonna come until that happens.
That's right. You look at the Lions, and to your point, they had a terrible reputation.
Horrible.
What we've seen since this new regime has come in is them putting guys in late season scenarios so they can hit their bonuses.
Yep.
Who does that?
Right.
And so you have a reputation now where you're going to take care of your guys, and that's going to attract more free agents. So for me, I absolutely love it. I really do want to get to this Jamar Jefferson take because I watched that game over the weekend, and he ran his butt off. But he said something very interesting in the post-game interview. This is something that has been frowned upon the majority of my life. You even in sitcoms they laugh about, going to a shrink or whatever. But he very upfront said and tipped his hat to the major influence and positive outcome that going to counseling and seeing a psychologist had for him and for his game.
We're not supposed to. That's something near and dear to my heart. I'm serious. We're not supposed to, as men, especially as professional athletes.
No doubt.
A big, strong professional athlete. I guess I'm not supposed to. One of the best things I ever did was going to get my head straight.
Yeah.
You kidding me? There's no stigma behind that. To me, you know what? I think you're a strong-ass man. You do that. Pat yourself on the back. Because I think our society has told us for so long, you're a man, suck it up. Well, sometimes you're a man, suck it up doesn't work.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of times, older people, we have the tendency to wax poetically about yesteryear, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, listen to me. Listen to me. Do you know how dumb we were? You got your bell rung. Shake it off. You got a brain injury,
right.
Dumbass.
CTE 25 years later.
You don't shake that off. You don't put some salt on it. Yes, there are some things that, we kind of... we kind of hold near and dear that... But I think that was... I'm glad that you brought that up, seriously, because, I think a lot more people out there have been there. Whether it was something that happened when you were a kid, some kind of trauma, I don't know. But you know what? Hey, man, you know what? Maybe I got a problem.
Yeah.
I got an anger issue. I got this going on. I got that going on. To me, you're a real man.
Yeah.
To go in. There should be absolutely no stigma. Good for you, and I applaud you, and all the best to you, man.
Yeah, and this new generation that's out right now, their anxiety is a real issue for them. Mm-hmm. Especially post-COVID. A lot of these kids got cheated out of high school and college and things like that. And so you're seeing a generation that is embracing getting psychological help, getting that counseling, but they're meeting a wall in the real professional world where you're dealing with a lot of guys that aren't comfortable with that. So I think him coming out and saying that was a really, really big thing for young athletes. I love that he did it. It took a lot of courage. I think he was really brave for doing that.
No, absolutely. And you know what? I mean, first and foremost, I want you to get it done on the football field.
Sure.
I'm not going to lie to you. I want that. I want that something fierce. But you know what? I want you to be as healthy as you can as a human being.
Yeah.
That's the most important
Physically
thing.
and mentally.
We are up against the break. Still a lot to do here out at the DGC. We expect to have a few special guests out here. He's Anson. I'm Sean. Thanks for checking in, Woodward Sports.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Ham for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Allen! Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
All right, welcome back in DGC. Thanks to the Feldman Automotive Group, the Children's Miracle Network. Just some great things. Corwell, so many great things happening out here at the DGC. He's Anson, I'm Sean, sitting in for Ermanni and Edwards. Had a chance to go see the big fella, Lomas Brown. He's, about 25 feet behind me? He said as soon as he's done eating, he's going to come over and chat with us. So just one of the most humble, wonderful human beings. If you haven't had a chance to meet him, you want to talk about a dude that just does not take himself seriously, he's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and actually over the weekend, yesterday, I binge-watched Receiver. And it's the Netflix special?
Yeah, it is, yep.
So one thing that, as a lifelong Lion fan, that I became very accustomed to was absolute lack of attention, publicity, or any interest in the Lions whatsoever. So I knew that Amon-Ra was in there. I knew it'd be interesting to watch. I love Justin Jefferson's on both of my dynasty teams. And, the rest of it, I'll be able to watch some San Francisco stuff. But what I took for granted and kind of forgot about was how important of a season the Lions had and what a major part of that series the Lions run is.
Yeah.
In fact, there was actually a moment there's a few moments where you hear Lomas Brown talking, during games, him and Dan. But one thing that I saw during that show that really blew my mind, and we've been talking about culture a lot today. Mm-hmm. The culture of the Lions, culture of this event here at the DGC, courtesy of the Feldman Automotive Group. And it was a moment after Amon-Ra had gotten snubbed for the Pro Bowl. And this is before he found out that he was an all-pro.
Yeah.
But he's pissed. He's real upset. And he comes out onto the field during practice, and Khalif Raymond's talking to him. And Khalif, very astutely, says, "You're feeding the wrong dog." He says, "Huh?" He says, "You got 2 dogs, and you're feeding the wrong one right now." And you could see Amon-Ra take that information and that philosophy and take it to heart. It kind of calmed him down. Obviously, finding out that he was an all-pro certainly helped things. But a guy like Khalif Raymond, who's invaluable in special teams and a hell of a 3rd, 4th receiver, a guy that can move the chains and make big plays, but he's more than that.
Yeah.
And these guys that we're seeing in the Honolulu Blue that we love to look at their stats and see if they should be replaced or if they should be starting and whatnot, we are underestimating what these two, in Brad and Dan, have created here. It's not just a great team, but it is an astounding culture.
You know, you bring up that story, and I think that is really the poster child for what you want this closer. All right,
yes.
I can do that. No, but I think that is the poster child for what the Detroit Lions are today. Because I'm telling you, I watched with my own two eyes in real time this locker room deflate in real time. Okay, and nobody's perfect. Okay. Everybody's going to have a moment, all right? I'm not always going to be smiley, happy, what's up, fellas, and give you bro hugs and stuff like that. Sometimes life happens. And you know what's really cool? When one of your teammates is there to kind of pick you up and go, dude, what up? You're feeding the wrong dog.
It's crucial.
Oh, it's just because you're not going to be on all the time. You're not going to be, Joe team player all the time. And sometimes, you need that guy that's going to come put his arm around you, show you a little love, and say, hey, no, you're veering to the left. I need you to stay over here. And that really is something. I cannot stress this enough. From the 2019/2020, 2020 not so much because we weren't really allowed en masse there because of that whole COVID thing. To see where this team was and where this team is now, it's unbelievable. True story, Lomas is behind us. I remember vividly walking out of the game in the 2019 season, okay? And this was a couple weeks before Thanksgiving and all that, where it was over. We knew it.
Yeah. They
knew it. You were in the room. They knew it. And to be where they were then and where they are now, it is a study in leadership, and leadership starts at the top. And that's why Anson, you probably heard me say this 1,000 times on the radio. I refuse to believe in the theory that fill-in-the-blank team sucks and always will suck. I do not accept that. I categorically deny it. I can bring up example after example of teams that brought in the right people, who brought in the right people, and all of a sudden you changed culture, and all of a sudden you turned it into a winning culture. And I think the Detroit Lions are one of those teams that people are going to be talking about. I mean, this was forget about our thoughts about the Detroit Lions, just completely off the radar. They're just the Lions. They're just the Lions. And now all of a sudden it's a great story, and a lot of it starts exactly where you said it did.
Yeah, and that's with the culture. This is a team that, 10, 15 years ago in the middle of the Millen era, there was people calling for the Fords to sell this team. But the Fords, I'm going to say it, they finally did listen to the fan base and Michiganders when it comes to their favorite team, the Detroit Lions. And they went in and got the team. Shout out Chris Spielman, a guy who went to OSU but bleeds Honolulu blue. This guy came in and brought in the right people, who brought in the right two, who brought in a whole staff of former players. Not because they wanted to make an experiment, because they knew what kind of culture they had to instill here. Not wanted to, but had to. Talking about some of these guys that are going to stick around, maybe to the chagrin of Lions fans, Nate Sudfeld's a guy that's all about the culture on this team. Yeah. He's probably not our number two. We're bringing 3 quarterbacks to week 1 on the full-time 53. Nate Sudfeld's not going anywhere because of what he means to the quarterback position, what he means to Jared Goff, what he means to the development of Hendon Hooker. He's an extra coach. You look at a guy like Monty. Monty was brought in here and replaced a fan favorite.
Right.
But look at who Monty is. This guy is the glue in the locker room. You see him during the receiver. Anytime that there's a big play, he's the first guy to congratulate. So hats off to the Fords, to Chris Spielman, to Dan and Brad, and every single one of the guys that they brought in over these last 3, now 4 years to absolutely bring a 180 to what was once a completely punchless punchline of a franchise.
It is amazing to me, when you look. I remember having a conversation with one of the guys from the Vikings radio network, and I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. All the years run together. But, like, we had a conversation, and here's a guy. They're in our division. Minnesota Vikings have been in our division for a long time, whether it be the North or the Central. And I'm talking to this radio guy, and I said, can you believe we've only won one playoff game? And he kind of chuckled. And I go, we won only one playoff game. And he goes, no. I go, dude, one.
Yeah.
One play. People around the nation didn't understand. They really didn't understand. And now you have some of the conversations with these guys, whether it be the guys in Minnesota, or I know a couple of the guys up in Green Bay, and they sit back and, what's going on with your Lions? I said, it's amazing what can happen when you bring in guys that want to put the emphasis on culture. I know nobody's going to want to hear this. Matt Patricia, away from the football field, great guy.
Really?
Honestly, great guy, okay?
You were able to catch up with him on his four-wheeler?
Right.
As he was riding out of town. Matt Patricia at the football field, at camp, the literal definition of the smartest man in the room. He knew everything.
Jekyll and Hyde.
It was never going to work because I think he came in and he tried to use somebody else's credit line. He tried to use Belichick's credit line. And guys saw through that. They did. Whoa. That's Belichick's credit line. Now, that's not your credit line. That's Belichick's credit line. But I mean this, and I have no reason to kiss Patricia's behind. Matt, away from the game, great guy. He didn't live too far from me, and I saw him around town. I saw him, away from the football field. But he was a guy that he was the smartest man in the room. He wasn't going to listen to him. He wasn't going to listen to his veterans. Sometimes you have to know when to take a step back and go, all right, you know what? Anson's saying this, and KG's saying this, and Pete's saying this.
And it doesn't take a rocket scientist, right?
Oh, I see what you did there. Maybe, just maybe, if three guys are saying it, maybe they're right and I'm wrong. And I think that was a big issue with that era.
And honestly, even when you know a guy's the smartest in the room, when he acts like it, it's really hard to listen to.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when you've got, like you said, other people giving their input and they don't want to listen to it, I'm sorry, but your coaching tree is not that strong. You guys got a bunch of rings in one city, and it hasn't translated to success anywhere else.
Yeah, people thought they were bigger than the system, and that's what it all came down to. But I've always said with the Lions, all they ever needed was somebody to give a damn about this team. And what Patricia did to this franchise, it probably should have set us back at least 5 seasons. What Brad Holmes has been able to do in just 3 short years is absolutely miraculous, man. And it's to the point where we're not a cute story anymore. It was a cute story last year. This thing is built to last. And I think every Lions fan can actually identify with that for the first time ever, this is really something sustainable. This is why we have so much belief in this team, so much belief in this regime, and I'm just happy to be able to see it because people have come and gone and not seen the Lions win. So
the issue is we're still in the honeymoon period, right? We are. We're still in the honeymoon period.
A little bit.
But, the one thing that we have to remember is you're going to have to make tough decisions like Brad Holmes had to make a tough decision. Now, Matthew Stafford made it easy on him. He did.
Yeah, he wanted out. Yeah.
Matthew Stafford made it easy
Rightfully
on him.
so. He wanted out.
Pretty soon, guys, I hate to say this, okay? I'm not saying we're going down the Jerry Jones road, but pretty soon, as the success continues to grow and some of these young players continue to grow, Brad Holmes is going to have to make a few of his tough decisions himself.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is you can't think here. You have to think here. And a lot of times that might mean saying goodbye to a fan favorite or a guy that you could never envision. Oh, no.
T.J. Hawkinson.
Right. That guy's such an integral part of our core. And, oh, my goodness, I thought he was going to be here for 10 years. You have to make those big decisions. And I think Brad's the type of guy that is and I hope the guys understand this and appreciate it, that there are going to be some decisions sooner rather than later that you're like, wow, I didn't think they'd do that. That's just the reality of the National Football League today. Yeah. Even with the cap continuing to grow up, which it's going to every year, set your watch to it. That's the reality of the situation right now.
Yeah, and the tight end situation, by getting rid of Hawkinson, I mean, every pundit in Detroit, aside from Woodward Sports, every pundit nationally, and a large portion of the fan base hated that move. They didn't have the trust of the fan base at that point. They were still struggling through what would end up being a 9-8, barely missed the playoff season. But in hindsight,
it's beautiful.
We got Laporta, who was the number one tight end, at least in fantasy last year, the greatest rookie year out of a tight end. And it just starts to instill that faith year after year of these guys. 3 years ago, you look at some of these, Lee McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, these guys, after a year of not really contributing, everybody was calling for their heads. And now, each year, you have these guys that, obviously you have the guys that you hit on early that are a big part of the team, but they keep finding more guys, maybe not right then, but after a couple of years to be able to get them into the system that they have. And that is going to cost some fan favorites down the road. But these guys are building it right. We've talked a few times about only 3 players in the 4 years that they've been here have received a 4-year contract or longer. And it's the big 3. These guys understand who the major pieces are, but they are not going to be shy on making cutthroat moves to save salary so that they can continue to build this team like the Pittsburgh Steelers have been built for the last 40 years.
And here's the biggest thing, okay? When you're talking about that Hockenson move, you're bringing in a guy. I'm a big fan of asking guys from elsewhere because whether we want to admit it or not, we got a little bit of that slappiness, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to have the tendency, right, we're going to have the tendency to sit back and say, well, I'm going to put my guy here. I'm going to put my guy there. I kid you not, Anson, I asked 4 of my buddies, I said, I know it's early, but where would you put Sam Laporta right now in the list of tight ends? Every single one said number 3, except for one. He said number 4, and he put Mark Andrews in front of him. These are all non-Lion fans, mind you. This is a guy that has, and notice I didn't mention T.J. Hockenson. Did you? That's a smart business play, baby. If we can sit back after a year and say, here's a guy that makes way less, his day's coming, and nobody, and I mean nobody, is sitting back saying, T.J. Hawkinson's a better tight end than Laporta. These are guys outside of like I said, Kelsey, I think you have to give Kelsey his love. I think you have to give Kittle his love. Personally, I'd put Laporta at 3. One dude said, I'd still take Mark Andrews. I think you're not giving Andrews enough love, especially what he does for your boy in Baltimore. And, I could say that, but, Andrews is coming off a big injury as well,
I love Mark Andrews, all 12 games he plays every year.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can't stay healthy. You got a guy in Isaiah Likely who's a tremendous young tight end talent that's right behind him.
I keep waiting for him to blow up. I really thought the end of the year, I was like, this is his coming out party.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for Andrews to be a top 2 tight end because of him. It's going to be hard for Isaiah Likely to ascend. And I think that when you look at the Ravens, this is a team that doesn't have the confidence to move on from players the way that Dan and Brad do. They'll probably keep Andrews in that lineup a little bit too long. But if you're asking me who I want on my team for the next 8 years at tight end, sitting alone on top of that list is Laporta.
Right now, absolutely. If you're talking about today, the 2024 season, yeah, I'll take those other guys. But to your point, okay, long term, who do I want for the next 8 years? There's one answer. That's
Easy
it.
answer.
You're an idiot if you say any other thing. And here's the thing. In the past, I kind of feel like a slapdick saying things like that. I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. And so that's why sometimes I like to check myself and call some of my guys and go, all right, am I being too slappy? No, dude, I put him at number 3. Okay, cool. And I mean, that's one of those areas when we go back to talking about the Lions. I'm not worried about that. We talked about the secondary. You talked about receivers. I think wide receiver with this team. I like what they have, but that doesn't mean I know all the answers. Who's going to be that quote-unquote 4, that quote-unquote 5? In name only, mind you. There's still a lot of things to discuss about this team, and we'll do it. So glad you could join us once again. So happy to be out here. The Feldman Automotive Children's Miracle Celebrity Invitation at the DGC. Having a blast out here. Hopefully you're having a blast wherever you are watching Woodward Sports.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Allen! Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down, $15 a month.
Any Lady Jane's haircuts for men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's haircuts for men, it's wicked awesome.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Allen! Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
You know what's interesting? Even if you played college football, say, in the swamp known as Gainesville, you never get used to this heat. Ever. Ever. As a matter of fact, I think I know a guy who played in the swamp at Gainesville, and he's joining us right now, and he even has his handkerchief going like this. He'll be the first guy to tell you you never get used to it. A guy that should be in the Hall of Fame. At least he's in the pride of the Lions. He'll get in the Hall of Fame one day. My buddy Lomas Brown kindly joining us. Lo, it's a pleasure to see you, buddy.
Hey, it's great being with you guys, man. Like you said, a little warm, but we can handle it. We can handle it.
This is my guy, Anson Lomas.
How are you, Mr. Brown?
All right, hey, look, every blade of hair is just laid. I like that, man. No blade of hair is out of place.
I appreciate
like
that. I didn't have the mirror, man. I appreciate it.
Looking good.
Likewise, man. You look like you could play.
Oh, hey, look, the money they make now, I wish I could get I wish I could.
No doubt about it. Well, I'm going to lead off here because I was watching Receiver. I binge watched it yesterday, and I heard your iconic voice in there with your partner Dan, and I had this idea. You and Rick, Detroit Muscle, together on a show. Ooh. You two embody what it was to be a Detroit player, whether things were good or bad. You guys have stuck with this city ever since. I'm just such a big fan of you both. It's really an honor to be sitting here talking to you. Talk about what it means to Detroiters, you being here for so long, because I know that you've heard an outpouring from our fans and from the community of how much it means that you have stayed here. got your feet dirty in this city and watched it come to its renaissance that it's in now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. It's been awesome to be a part of it. It's been awesome to see the growth of this city. Think about some of the things we've been through, right? This city went through bankruptcy. We came out of that. The car industry, it's up and down sometimes, but we have a tendency of surviving that. And we seem to always come back stronger, better as a community, as a fan base. And I think that's what it means to be a Detroit Lion fan and to watch this team and be part of it, is that you're going to have some tough times. You're going to have to pick yourself up. But we always seem to do that. And like I say, we get better, we get stronger from it. And you can see it now. The city is like at its best right now. I mean, we had the draft here. Almost 1 million people were here, and they had a great time here. The Detroit Lions, what they're doing now, it's just amazing to see what happens when your sports team is good, how this community follows.
Lomas, I was telling these guys, this is even before we knew we were going to have you on. I remember vividly when we were both working for the network at the time, you, me, and our mutual friend Nick Roddy walking out of the locker room in November of 2019. And you knew it was over.
Yes.
It was all, the heads were down, and we were sitting there going, we got 2 months more of this. Imagine what those guys in the locker room are doing. You've had a front row seat. I can't think of a complete top-to-bottom culture change like we've seen here in the last 5 years. I don't think enough is being said about what Brad and Dan have done to this franchise.
Yeah, and Sean, give Sheila Hamp Ford a lot of credit too, man, because she empowered them to do what they did. She's basically turned the reins over to them and say, hey, you guys run it the way you need to run it. And you're right, man. It is so, I get a little jealous sometimes, because if we would have had the front office that they had now with the talent we had back in the 90s, I mean, we could have far exceeded what we did. You know what I'm saying? So you see that it takes everything. It takes the front office, the coaching staff, the player. It takes everything for the organization to run the way it's been running. And you're right. They've done a great job, Brad. It's a lot of big decisions to be made coming up soon. The cut deadline is tomorrow. It's going to be some guys that are here that won't be here, and this is going to be some new guys that they find on the waiver wire that they'll bring in here. But they've been the great additions, and I love the thing they say is that you have to be they're just not taking players. You have to be the type of player that they want here in Detroit, and I don't think I've ever heard that before.
1985, you're the number 6 overall pick. Hard question. I want some serious truth here. You're coming from Florida up to the D. So when you were picked and they said that you're going to be a Lion, how did you truly feel at that moment?
So to be completely honest, I hadn't heard from the Lions until 2 picks before they drafted me. They never worked me out. I never talked to a coach, or administrator. The first time I talked to the Detroit Lions were 2 picks before they picked me, and they said, if this happens and this happened, we're going to draft you. And this happened and that happened, and they ended up drafting me. So Darryl Rogers was on the phone with me, and he was like, congratulations, you're a Detroit Lion. And it was like this awkward silence that was on the phone. I was more in shock than anything else. And then he was like, aren't you happy to be a Lion? And I was like, oh, yeah, I am. But it was more the shock that they picked me, because they had come from completely out of sight. It was nothing that told me I was going to be a Detroit Lion. But I tell you what, that was the best thing ever happened to me. I just looked back at my career, looked back at the guys that were drafted around me, and said, man, for me to team up with a Barry Sanders, get the block for the greatest.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it couldn't have worked out any better for me.
I say this all the time. Lomas Brown kindly joining us. I look at you. I look at Herman. So many of your teammates. You guys, you played here. Many of you went elsewhere. You got a chance to win a Super Bowl elsewhere. But you decided to make Detroit home.
Yes.
And there's so many athletes like that, Lo, in the football world, in the hockey world, in the baseball world. What is it? You're a guy from the Miami area. You got a chance to play all over, but you made the choice to stay here.
Love, man. I'm telling you, man, I tell people that Detroit or Michigan is more of a tourist state than Florida is.
Yeah.
Man, there's just so much to do here, man, from the waters to the dunes, the picturesque when you're going up north and the changing of the leaves and just everything. The agriculture is great here. Man, we 5 minutes from Canada. It's just, man, it's just so many great things to love about Detroit. So I always say, I tease a lot of my homeboys back in Florida. I'm like, man, look, I'm in the tourist state. Y'all got the citrus down there, and you got the elderly down there, but we got everything else up here in Michigan. And man, I couldn't be no more happier. I'm a Michigander. I turned in the Floridian citizenship, so I'm a Gander now. Yeah.
I got to bring this up very quickly though, Anson. Canes and Gators. How great is that?
Look. Sean, it's only great if we win. It's only great if we win. If we lose to the Miami Hurricanes, it's not going to be great, man. So Napier, come on, my good man. We got to get that program down at Florida going again.
Oh, that's great.
Can we get a Super Bowl prediction from you?
Oh, yeah. Look, Super Bowl or bust. I'm serious. I'm
Amen.
serious. I've said this since the end of last season. I don't think you could get a half away from getting to the Super Bowl and at least not get back in the NFC Championship game. I think that's the floor, is the NFC Championship game. If you get to the NFC Championship game, you might as well go ahead and win the whole thing. So, to me, the floor is getting back to the championship game. I think we should win the Super Bowl this year. And like I say, we were a half from doing that last year. So that's my expectation. And I know it is with Dan Campbell, those guys sitting in that locker room over there, those guys over at that organization. That's their expectations, whether they say it or not. They want to be in the Super Bowl and want to win a Super Bowl.
Lomas, I know you got a lot to do. KG, you want something?
Yeah, I just wanted
Talk
one
to
quick
me,
question.
KG.
Listen, I know we got a really tough schedule this year. What game are you most excited to call on this schedule?
You know what? That's easy. The first one.
Oh,
the first one.
Bring him home, yes.
Man, Stafford to come back up here because you know he got revenge on his mind.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, and have you seen the commercial with him and Kelly on the sleep number bed?
No, I haven't.
He likes it comfortable. She likes it a little firm. So she in bed at night telling Matthew, look, we owe them, Matthew. They booed your kids.
Yep.
They hit you real hard when you came back there. They didn't show me my respect that I think they should have shown. So she's stirring the pot in the background. So that's the game I want.
I love it. I love it.
Lo, I know you got a lot to do, but open invite, bi-week barbecue again.
Oh, yeah.
And you can bring your brother.
Okay.
Listen, his brother, I watched that man eat more wings in one sitting.
I know.
More than him?
No, Lo, it was his brother.
Yeah.
More than Lomas.
No. And he's smaller than me,
wow.
too. He's a little fella, too.
He had this smile, and you did a good job when he smiled and he goes, can I have some more wings? And I'm like, Gary, you can have as many wings as you want,
You're
man.
right, too, Sean.
Now, but open invite, you know that, my friend.
I appreciate that.
Let me get one more question in here. I wanted to ask you for a long, long time because so many times we have heard you ask what it was like to block for Barry Sanders. Yeah. Who was the second guy that you enjoyed blocking for most? Because you just barely missed Billy Sims. There was James Jones was the playmaker when you came in as a rookie?
Yep, he was. Yep, and me and James played together at Florida for 2 years before the Lions drafted him up here. That's a great question because I've never been asked that. It's always who's the best.
Go, Anson.
It's never. That's a great question.
Good job, Anson.
I probably would have to say, Tiki Barber. Tiki wasn't bad when I was with the Giants for 2 years.
Stud.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good blocking for Tiki and everything. And we had some success with the Giants. Got to the Super Bowl. Didn't win it, but we got there. Did you know they give you a ring for losing the Super Bowl? Now, they call it an AFC or NFC championship ring. I call it a loser's ring because every time you look at it, you know you lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so, you don't wear that one, do you?
I don't know where that ring is. I know where the Super Bowl ring is, but I don't know where that NFC championship ring is. But, I would say Tiki Barber.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
The great Lomas Brown kindly joining us. He's, of course, Lions Radio Network. He's on WJR as well, and he should be down in Canton soon. Hopefully you can make it over. All the boys are watching. Bye week. Hopefully you can make it over.
Yeah, that'll be great. And I know y'all talked about this great cause that we're out here for,
phenomenal.
man. This is I've been coming out here pretty much every year, and it's always great to see some of the fellas out here, Buddha, Ron Harper, a lot of the guys, athletes come out, and it's just a great cause. So I appreciate the Children's Miracle Network, appreciate Mr. Wahlberg, what he does, man, and appreciate the Detroit Golf Club for what they do.
No doubt. We appreciate you, Lo.
See how I got that in there?
He's sneaky.
Professional.
There you go.
There's a
Put it all in.
Lomas Brown kindly joining us
thanks,
here
Lo.
on Woodward Sports Network. Great guy, no doubt
Legend.
about it. I say all the time, and I know I've said this to him, it's funny because I think one of his teammates doesn't get the credit he deserves at wide receiver because of the guy that came after him. I don't think people realize how good Herman Moore was.
Oh, man.
People don't, Herman Moore's almost like an afterthought because some freak named Calvin Johnson came after him. And you brought up the other name. I will say until my dying breath that Billy Sims is one of the best running backs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, his career was shortened, and some absolute freak by the name of Barry Sanders came shortly thereafter. But because of that, I think both those guys maybe don't get the love that they deserve because of who came after them.
Is that kind of like how we forgot about Matt Stafford already?
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly, Stick. My man, Jared Goff.
You have to say it.
I mean, let's look at this trade. This trade was about draft picks and having to stomach Jared Goff. And now, 3.5, 4 years later, this is the Jared Goff, Matt Stafford trade.
With Stick standing right here, I have no problem saying it. I was one of those guys saying it 3 years ago. Jared Goff's ass will be out of here. He's shot. Look at him. Look what happened his last year and a half at the Rams. You can watch a video. Yeah, you can post the video. I don't give a crap. Do you see how I caught myself? No, seriously. It's like, do you know how happy I am? Every Lion fan should be happy. If you were one of those guys like me that was dead wrong about Jared Goff, I can't say that enough. Now, listen, was I wrong about how poorly he played with the Rams? No, I wasn't wrong about that. I was wrong that he wouldn't be able to resurrect it. Dead wrong. 100%. What was a great deal became an absolute monster deal. Now,
for both teams.
In fairness, it's all about winning the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
And the Rams can sit back and go, oh, that's cute. Look what you did with your team. Check out this ring. Check out that ring. If the Lions win a ring, guess what? Now you can do the same thing.
It's the greatest trade in football history if both teams come away with the Super Bowl.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So, no, hey, listen, you're absolutely right. That pick, that deal was about the the draft picks. If we're being honest, I don't think hardly anybody other than Stick was looking at Jared Goff saying, that's our guy. That's QB1.
Him and I were pretty serious.
There weren't a lot of them.
No, there weren't.
A lot of them.
And that's the thing is when this was a trade, it was an addition by subtraction for the Rams. We were taking on a gaudy contract of a guy that wasn't going to be here long, and it was all about getting those picks.
Yep.
But in hindsight, not only did we get those picks that we've parlayed into some serious talent, but we have the greatest quarterback in Lions history, aside from maybe Mr. Bobby Lane.
I wanted, it was funny because I remember talking to people when the 2021 season came around, and I remember talking to people and they were trying to jump the gun already to 2022. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, guys, seriously? Next year's not the year. Next year's not the year. 2021, people were trying to fake the excitement. I think everybody knew they were going to struggle. Even going into 22, people were saying 2022, and I was like, let's wait and see what happens till 2023 because there's a reason when you think about those two draft choices. But, yeah, you know what? To me, gosh, darn it, it's not the first time I was dead wrong about something. It won't be the last time. You have to confess. Jared Goff was an absolute godsend. You didn't have to waste one of those picks on a quarterback. You could go address two other things, and you got QB1 right there. I think it goes to show you the lesson that I take from that, Anson, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, okay? It is amazing in the National Football League when you put a quarterback in positions of favorability, it is amazing what a quarterback at this level can do. Because this was a guy who you saw it with the Rams on the bad side, and you've seen it with the Lions on the good side. If you give this guy time, he's going to pick you apart.
Yeah.
If you're going to protect him, he's going to pick you apart.
Like any quarterback.
That's right.
It's amazing. I think strengths and weaknesses, though. I think there are some guys that do well with pressure.
Yeah.
Jared Goff isn't one of them.
No, of course.
Jared Goff is not one of those. I think Aaron Rodgers is a guy that's shown he did well with pressure.
Yeah.
I
But
think Tom
look who
Brady,
you talking
obviously.
about. You talk about him, Patrick Mahomes,
Right.
Lamar Jackson to a certain degree. These people can do well under certain things, but most quarterbacks in the NFL are only good when they are protected and they have a good team around them. So I've just never liked that narrative about Jared Goff.
You know what the thing that the common thread through all of receiver was? Great families.
Yeah.
Everybody had a strong family. And so when you take a guy who has the skill, you know, you put a great skill player at wide receiver who doesn't quite have his head right and is in the wrong situation, he still can go out and perform. But the quarterback position is one that you have to be physically right, you have to be mentally right, and you have to be emotionally right. And Jared Goff in L.A. was a battered man.
He was.
He was a guy that took a team to the Super Bowl in his first year and was never forgiven for not getting back. So he comes to Detroit, and I'll tell you, Detroit, Cleveland, and Chicago, there's no harder markets on quarterbacks because they've never had one.
That's where they go to die.
That's right. Nobody's ever had one in those three cities, and we want one so bad that we're willing to throw a guy away halfway through a great season. And we did that the first year he was here. We did that the next year he was here. We did it all last year. In fact, there's people that are talking about still maybe having jumped in to get one of these great quarterbacks that came out of college this year, and maybe we should be starting Hendon Hooker. But what I saw in that receiver was the game ball. After the Rams, he said, the first one, you're good enough for Detroit.
Yeah.
And he turned.
Damn right.
He turned to him, and Jared Goff at that point, from the start that he got here, how he's been embraced, how his emotions must be feeling so strong and positive now, which then your mind follows, and then your body is able to manifest those things. And that's what we've seen. We're going to say this word probably 5 more times today, but it's culture.
Yeah.
And that's what you bring into a guy's life that has had that absence of culture, where they're not holding you up, and you can do anything.
You know, it's amazing because so many times I hear different people say, and I'm going to use one quarterback of the future, Joey Harrington. Joey Harrington was drafted, and he was the new, flavor of the month, and he was going to be the next savior of this franchise. Yeah. And if I'm being fair with Joey Harrington, do I know how Joey Harrington's career would have gone if he went someplace else? Nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What I knew from basically day one, and I think if you talk to any beat writer, you knew it wasn't going to work here.
Yeah.
It was not going to work here. The general manager didn't really like him.
Mm-hmm.
The coach didn't like him, which begs the question, what are you drafting him for, you know? And then everything kind of got exacerbated by the fact that, you know what? Guys in the room didn't like him.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, that was a big problem. And so what he tried to do is he tried to overcompensate. And he would come out and he would get that, shiny, happy people look on his face. And, that jerk on the radio that came up with the term Joey Blue Skies, damn him. But
that was you?
Then the fans called.
I didn't know that was you.
Then the fans calling for Mike McMahon of all people.
Yeah, Mike McMahon.
I remember those days.
I know a coach that really.
Yep.
Mike McMahon's the guy. That was the quote. Do you remember that?
I was a fan.
But that literally,
days.
I remember doing those post-game shows, and I kind of feel bad because I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to motivate himself and thus motivate. But he would come up there and he would go, well, it hurts, but this is a learning lesson and we have to look at it. And I kept screaming, when is class going to end? When do we graduate? Stop with the learning lessons. You can only say that so long.
Right.
You can only stretch that out so long, and thus Joey Blue Skies was born. But I don't know how it would have worked out. I think the Joey Harrington, a few years into his career, was shot. I really do.
Yeah.
Now, consider the source. I think Jared Goff kind of looked like a shot guy towards the end with the Rams and, the turnovers and everything. But Joey got an opportunity elsewhere. He didn't make it happen in Miami. He didn't make it happen in Atlanta. And Jared was able to make the most of it.
Every quarterback that I've ever seen come here had to be someone for this franchise because the franchise had no identity aside from gray skies. So I don't blame Joey coming in and trying to be the positivity and bring some sunshine to this dark place. But what Goff has been able to do is just be Jared Goff because, again, Brad and Dan came here with their culture, and then they picked players that fit that culture, and they established something that any and every player can just come in here and be themselves and be embraced for that.
Yeah, it is. Hey, listen, props. I don't care who you are. That's one of those things. You should be happy as a pig in slop that you were wrong about that guy. Are you kidding me? What a bonus that was for the Detroit Lions. All right, still some more show to go out here. Where is out here? We are at the DGC. It is once again the Feldman Automotive Children's Miracle Celebrity Invitational. Just a fantastic time out here. Hope you are having as much fun as we are here on Woodward Sports.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Allen! Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Hi, how are you? Glad you could join us, DGC. All right, I can't wait for this. This was like a teaser during the break. You know, you're supposed to do these cheesy teasers in the business. And coming up when we come back, Anson will tell you, you got to do the cheesy radio voice, 3:35, 35 minutes after the hour 3. We'll take a look at traffic and weather together in 3 minutes. Stage 2.
Chastity is stage number 2.
That's exactly. Yeah, oh my gosh, it is kind of. And welcome.
Just a slight difference.
KG.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you got?
Well, KG he's excited about this topic. I already know that.
You literally said Michigan slander during the break. So I'm
It's
just
not hard.
I'm just here to regulate you. That's all.
It's not hard. I certainly did.
Get your stuff off, but I'm monitoring you.
The Corn and Blue program has lined themselves up for more issues here and more speculation because the story is not over, even though there's a story on Netflix already about it. But looks
tomorrow,
like
right? Tomorrow.
Shout out Connor.
The U of M, the University of Michigan, has received NCAA notice of allegations in the Connor Stallion sign steal. Now, this is the same situation that the head of the NCAA last year said that there was no issues with, and that Harbaugh has now been reprimanded and suspended from the team or returning to it, but it's not over. It's still not over. And I know that the chat's loving this right now. I know you guys love it when we bring this up, but at what point are Wolverine fans going to realize that you displace leaders and best with everyone cheats? Because I can go back to some Mike Hart quotes about OSU and cheating is cheating. This story won't go away no matter how bad Corn and Blue Michigan fan wants it to go away.
I have said this to you, KG, and I'm going to say it again in front of Anson, okay? We know what happened. We know what happened. I think most guys admit they know what happened. And I'll be the first guy to say it, okay? You bring Urban Meyer to Michigan State, one of the greatest cheaters in the history of mankind.
Yes, sir.
You bring Urban Meyer in, and if he wins, I am totally cool. I am not going to take the moral high ground, anything like that.
As long as he doesn't cheat here.
That,
I'm not down with that. I'm a karma-driven man.
Let it happen after they win a championship.
Right?
Don't worry about it after the championship.
I'm not cool with that.
No, but all jokes aside, KG and Michigan fans, I think you get this is going to follow this. You guys have accepted that, right?
Yeah.
Most of us. You're going to hear the cat calls. You're going to hear people questioning it, and you know what? At the end of the day, do you know what it changes? Nothing.
Nothing.
Because the NC2A, you know as well as I do, and I think everybody else out there knows
Bunch
this.
of schmucks.
And that's why our boy down south went so nuts. Is because nothing's going to happen. The NCAA is not going to do anything about this. Like let's be honest. That's why Feinbaum, said what he said, and
right. No Michigan hater, by the way.
Yeah, you got away with it. Congratulations, that's great. Let's all move on because nothing's going to happen, other than being able to stick the knife in a little bit.
Anson don't want that to happen though.
Anson
wants us to be reprimanded. He wants the title stripped.
No,
the big bad empire.
I'm not saying that I want the title stripped. Because I don't want to listen to Walmart Wolverine for the next 5 years cry about it. My thing is I just want to know the truth. I want to know if Harbaugh and the coaching staff contacted other coaching staffs in order to create a space for Connor Stallion with his Ray-Ban camera glasses.
Oh, my God.
But you can, my God, it all you want. But now it's not just Michigan coaches that have been fired. Now it's Central Michigan coaches. And if you bring a second university in that you are coordinating with to defraud another opponent, that's actually what we call and define as a conspiracy.
So let me ask you think the NCAA cares about Central Michigan and the people that got fired?
You're worried about the NCAA and how they feel when you just call them a bunch of schmucks.
They the ones doing the reprimanding.
Why are you not bothered by this? And why are Michigan fans, in fact, just spitting in the face of it? Because I held to it right
because
here.
it happens everywhere.
See, and that is why you guys have changed from leaders and best, which would not lead people to cheat. They would show you how to not do it. And now your mantra is everyone does it. And I love that.
Well, I know I said this to you, KG, and I'm going to be consistent about it. There's no more moral high ground.
No. And
anybody who ever took the moral high ground, that's gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Bob took that high ground.
But I've never been a high and mighty fan, just speaking for myself.
Right.
And a lot of Michigan fans aren't that way.
Do you know what the problem is, though? And honestly, and I don't know if you guys, and I know Stick's over here as well. I mean, I'll give it to all you guys.
Sense
okay?
into your buddy over here.
No, but I'll give it to all you guys. there are so many unbelievable moments in this throughout this whole process. And you brought up the Connor Stallion situation with Central up at State, okay? Pete, I don't know if you've ever been on the sideline. I've had those sideline passes at Michigan State, okay? I had them during the game. I had them before a game, okay? Yeah. They know exactly who's on the field. Oh, yeah. Anybody who says otherwise is out of their mind.
Agreed.
Central Michigan knew who was on the field.
No, of course.
They knew it was Connor Stallions on the field. I think that the funny thing about it for people to play stupid and play the lone wolf card is hysterical because it doesn't work that way. I'm going to tell you, so about a half hour before the game, we got a chance to come down. Be honest with you, my son wanted to beat Mark D'Antonio. So we went down on the field. Mark was gracious, great guy, funny guy, I might add.
Fantastic man.
You'd be surprised. Like Mark D'Antonio, could you imagine him doing stand-up comedy? And then there was a Wolverine and he got hit by a car. No, he's actually funny. But so what happens about a half hour before the game is they clear everything out. They clear him out. They know who's on the field. They know who's not on the field. So I think for me, when that happened, when that flag came up last October, for me that was like, okay, there's more to this story than we think because you can't just get access like that down in the field.
No.
And then we went through that whole thing, and I'm not saying that you were one of them.
No, I get you.
But remember all those people going, oh, dude, that's not him.
No, of course.
And everybody's searching like the Central Michigan website, and this is the Econ 101 teacher. See, it looks exactly like him. And it's like, stop it. We knew what was going on. They knew what was going on. I mean, I think to me, Anson, I've gotten to the point in my life, I am so sick and tired of people telling me that I didn't see what I saw. There's honestly,
a lot of that going on right now.
It's a societal problem. It is. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and again, I'm not painting with one brush or the other. There's a lot of that stuff going on. And I thought that was another example of people trying to tell us that we didn't see what we saw. I'm going to say it again. They got away with it.
Yeah.
You won a national championship. You're going to have to continue to take the arrows. You just are.
Yeah. People will forget, though.
Anson, I would be drop dead stunned if the NC2A did anything. Stunned.
But at the same time, we would have been stunned last year if this came back a year later. And then after they already suspend him, now a couple weeks later, we have notice of allegations. Michigan fan wants this to go away so bad because the longer an investigation goes on, the more truth comes out.
You never gonna get the whole truth, though.
Well, and I don't expect to, but we've gotten more and more as a year has gone by, and I expect more and more to come out. Now, I don't want to piss off our listeners too much because I know some of you guys are real upset about this, and some of you don't care, and then there's a whole bunch of Spartan fans that are salivating for the dismissal of a national championship, which I agree, Sean, I don't think it's going to happen. So I am going to shift gears with our final 15 minutes here. Wow. We're going to go into straight fanboy. We're going straight fanboy. We got a whole list of celebrities here that the fine people at Feldman Automotive Group have put together along with the Wahlberg clan. So we got Mark and Donnie and James all here along with Bob and Paul and Brandon. That's 6 of them. It's fantastic, but we're talking sports today, all right? Lomas Brown, obviously we had him stop by. He's here. What do you think about Kenny Anderson?
Broke my heart.
He was on Big D Energy.
Broke my heart. Shep told me he was out here, and I can't help but think about 1990, Georgia Tech and Michigan State. Those memories die hard, dude. Yeah. They don't. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Do you remember that?
Well, I was a Michigan fan at the time. I loved that game. That was Respert, right? Sean Respert?
It just broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart, man.
They had a heck of a team that year. That was Sean Respert's team, right? That they lost?
I think he was a couple years later. Okay. But they 86, we had the clock at Kemper Arena. Look it up. The clock stopped. It stopped. They didn't move the clock for like 29 seconds.
I had that in that game I was head coach.
It allowed Kansas to come back. Like, we had Kansas. And then there was the Kenny Anderson. Was it a three-pointer or was it not a three-pointer? And it wasn't a three-pointer. But a lot of heartache for that era. There's no doubt about that. And, I mean, it's only 34 years later, and I still want to throw an egg at the son of a gun. But right. Other than that, I got over it.
Wasn't that a Mike Poplawski team?
Yeah, I think it may have been. Boy, I don't remember. 4 years ago. I think Respert was a couple of years late because he was on Judd's last team, right? He was on Judd's last team, the 95 team, but I could be wrong.
And we've got a former Wayne State alumni and Woodward sports alumni.
Big Joik.
Big Joik Bell.
I'm familiar with his work.
I thought
he was
you
on
might
Big D
be.
Energy as well.
I thought you might be.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to know him for a long time. Called his games when he was at Wayne State. Told anybody who would listen, like honest to goodness, if you listen to the old radio show, I used to go, he's going to be in the NFL. He was that good. He won the equivalent in Division II of the Heisman trophies called the Harlan Hill, and he was named the best player in Division II on a 6-5 team.
You had an interesting story about him freshman year. End of a game.
So it was my first year, his last year.
Oh, okay.
This is a true story. We were playing Ashland. 35-33 was the score. They were at the 40-yard line. The play comes in, so the freshman quarterback in the huddle starts to call out the play, and Joik screams at him and goes, "Give me the bleeping ball."
Oh. Sound like Joik.
I'm gonna give that man the bleeping ball.
That's
at
right.
that point in time. I kid you not, he has the clip on his phone, as a matter of fact, to this day. Throw about a 5-yard swing pass to him. He went out of his way to plow people, like he did. It was like a 22-year-old kid playing against a bunch of 5-year-olds. And let me tell you something. I light those 5-year-olds up. Mercy is for the weak. I go full Cobra Kai on those kids. But no, literally, and I mean, just running people over to the point where Anson, I kid you not, at the end of the call, I started laughing because it really did. It was the definition of man amongst boys. It was the definition. But heck of an NFL player as well. I stopped rooting for him point blank when he went to the Chicago Bears. And I told him that I will never root for a Bear. It broke my heart, but it was great that he was able to come back here and contribute a little bit more. But he's a guy that always gives back too.
So you're not pulling for DeAndre Swift this year?
Absolutely not.
Come on.
If you're a Chicago, listen, if you're a Chicago Bear, you're dead to me.
No doubt about it.
That's a hard and fast rule. You're just dead to me at that point in time.
No doubt about it.
I hate the Bears.
Bears.
KG, we're going to see how hip Sean is.
Okay.
This ought to be good.
Do you know who Sada Baby is?
Good question.
Didn't Aretha Kitt sing that song? Wasn't that a big Christmas hit? Santa Baby, Sada Baby.
Sada Baby.
Not quite. Sada
You don't
baby.
want a Sada under your tree. You don't.
Slip a sable under the tree.
Oh, man, I wonder if he's heard that before.
That's hilarious.
I have no idea who Sada
Sada
Baby is.
Baby.
I got to be honest.
So if you go on 8 Mile or anywhere in the city and Sada Baby comes on, everybody's standing up.
Yeah.
This is kind of, the fact that it's debatable, but most people think the greatest hip-hop legend ever came out of Detroit and a man named Eminem. Well, I'll tell you what, the new generation of hip-hop out of Detroit, this guy's one of the best I've ever heard. It's just got that Detroit feel to it. And he's a hell of a basketball player. I've seen some clips of him. The guy can hoop, but he's been very involved in Detroit since he came up on his big come-up in the last 5-6 years. But Sada Baby is loved by Detroit.
I'm going to listen to it. When I pop into the car, now I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be driving down 8 Mile, and they're going to go, "Who's the old man in the F-150
Right,
trying
listen
to
to
You'll
this.
fit
Hello,
right in.
kids."
Yeah.
You'll fit right in if you're playing on 8 Mile.
Some of the music might take you by surprise at first. Just hang with it. Just hang with it.
Hello, kids. See, I am what you call hip. Like,
Fantastic. So,
Oh, my God. Shout out Sada, man.
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Legend, Detroit legend. So we got Buddha here.
yeah,
Bad Boys.
legend.
Bad Boys here. We got a guy who's a 5-time champion for another team from Chicago that we're not huge fans of. At least I know I'm not. I was a fan of Mr. Ron Harper when he was a Cavalier, and the Pistons were able to dispatch them in 1989. But that guy was pretty awesome starting for the Bulls.
Yeah, he was. It's amazing what happens when you put players with a guy like Michael Jordan. It's kind of don't like that. But.
He either slits your throat or brings the best out of you.
Dude, I told you, I felt so dirty. Like one day when I just collapsed in tears and I said, I have to confess, Michael Jordan's the best I ever saw. Because you just couldn't do it though. You were lying to yourself. Most importantly, if you didn't acknowledge that.
It's true.
We are up against it. We are going to wrap it up. Anson will let you know some of the other guys out here. Can't thank you enough for hopping on with us. Can't thank the great folks out here as well for having us.
We
out
actually
here on Woodward Sports.
got a special guest coming on.
Oh, do we really?
Yeah.
All right, a special guest coming on after break.
Fantastic.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Allen! Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet.
With your Premier Pet Supply, man, just looking around. Who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
So I'm serious, Anson, you are going to have to see this man's witchcraft in person. I had a chance to talk to him a few minutes before the show started, and he played a couple, witchcraft tricks on me. I was talking with Shep and I was talking with Stick, and we had a chance to see some of what he does. Very entertaining. Do we have the mic for him? Do we got the mic for him? Oh, the mic. Where'd that mic? Oh, there it is.
Right here.
Yeah. First of all, introduce yourself to everybody. Let everybody know who you are.
My name is Jacob Shemaev. My Instagram's at Jacob Magician. I actually flew out all the way from New York to be here. I'm originally from Detroit, but I live in New York now.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah.
In fact, he's performed at some of my events. We're actually friends.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
I've known Anson for like almost 8 years.
Oh, wow.
So you're familiar with his witchcraft?
I know his sorcery.
Yeah. Oh.
That's even better. Sorcery's even better.
Here.
It's got those medieval connotations, right?
He's honestly one of the hardest working guys in his craft. Relentless and talented.
I am fascinated by this stuff. So what do you got for us?
Can one of you actually hold the mic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
So I actually have a bunch of puzzle pieces here.
Okay.
Can you actually don't actually like grab them, but like can you mix them around with your fingertips just like this?
Absolutely.
Just mix them around.
Just like that, right?
Yeah. Check for any double pieces. Make sure he ain't on, he ain't counting
I'm
us.
looking.
Yeah, really look.
I'm looking.
Really
Is that
look.
good?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
Now here's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Can you just go like this and just like really twist it around? Like, yeah. You can literally stop whenever you want. Like you're driving like a little NASCAR, you know?
Yeah.
Pretend to be like a little driver.
Is that good?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Now to make this like very, very random, here, I'll put this right here. Can you actually just like grab a nice mystery piece? Grab one that's like face down so that I don't know what it is and you don't know what it is.
Pick a piece.
Grab one face down and put it right here on the cap.
Okay. Right
Perfect. Now, so let's recap here. Look, you could have grabbed this piece. You could have grabbed maybe that piece. You could have grabbed this one. Like, can the camera actually see that these are all different pieces? Look,
we'll try and zoom in
like
if we
all,
can.
all different pieces.
Totally
Look,
different pieces.
Maybe,
Absolutely.
Maybe this piece right here.
Okay.
Maybe that one. Like, I'm trying to show you, like, the camera could see all different pieces right
It's
here.
legit.
Yep, go ahead.
legit.
Go ahead. We looking.
Different pieces. See that? Look.
Yeah.
This is the piece that you took. Okay. Here, let's. Can you just hold this just like this? Be very careful. Yep.
Just hold it right there.
Yep. Perfect. Make sure it doesn't fly away.
It's not
Look,
gonna fly away.
I actually have a puzzle piece. Okay.
Okay.
Can
That's
you take
crazy.
Can you take that piece and place it on the puzzle?
Wow.
Make sure it's a perfect fit.
Wow.
Dude, how the heck?
Make sure it's a perfect fit.
Wow.
What the hell? See? Really?
That's impressive.
No, come on.
Very impressive.
It's a puzzle of the Mona Lisa. We can't really see it from the camera.
That piece, didn't you?
We're really impressed.
You literally could have grabbed any piece you wanted.
Yep. That was impressive.
Dude.
Guys, I appreciate you.
Not bad.
Appreciate you, man.
Just tilt the chair a little bit.
Yeah, but the puzzle's going to fall.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to see a little bit. It was literally the missing piece to the Mona Lisa.
Just one spot. I mean, you
How
guys
the
watched the
heck
whole
do
thing
you do
develop
that
there.
crap?
That's impressive.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Very impressive. We appreciate
Tell
you.
everybody how they can. No, again, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
You can follow me on Instagram at Jacob Magician. That's Jacob Magician. That's one word. I live in New York City, so if anybody's in the New York City area, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, please just shoot me a message on Instagram and let me know what you're doing. I do a lot of corporate events.
How did you get involved? How did you get involved in all this?
I started Magic when I was a kid. I've always been fascinated by David Copperfield. Never seen his show live, but I've always seen him on television, and I just wanted to follow his footsteps because he's one of the greatest names in the world.
Well, Braylon was pretty insistent we got you on today, so you must have blown his mind at some point.
Oh, yeah. It was me, Braylon, Ryan Ermanni. I was originally on Fox 2 when I did Magic for Mario Lou way back in the day. Alicia Smith on ABC Channel 7.
Hey, shout out.
Yeah.
You're phenomenal. I'm serious. I got to see 3 up close and personal, kind of like that blow your mind, like how the did you do that? So it's fun, and I tell you what, an event like this, I think people get a kick out of it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
God bless you, man.
God bless. Thank you so much.
Pretty cool stuff, no doubt about that. A lot of fun out here today, Anson.
Indeed.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. A lot of fun out here. You can take your stuff, man.
I got one thing I got to say.
Yes.
Josh Gordon is here.
Yeah.
And I am such a massive Josh Gordon fan.
He was the man.
You guys have no idea.
Flash Gordon.
Anybody of my friends that are watching, you guys know how excited I was to see Josh Gordon on this list. I did bring some cards in here. I think I showed you guys. I got the Ron Harper
Shout out
rookie
Rob
here.
Sims over there.
There's Rob, legend.
No doubt. No doubt. A bunch of Lion legends around here.
Yeah.
But, I've had an amazing day here. It, again, is always an absolute honor to be on a show with you.
Isn't he awesome? Like, I'm serious. I'm serious. I love to see guys like go like this in this business, and you were a guy that you always entertained when you called in and at games, and now watching you excel here, dude. Seriously, it's awesome. It's absolutely
can't thank
awesome.
you enough. That means so much coming from you.
I'm serious. It's you're entertaining, and you piss KG off, which is really
it's hard to do, man.
Yeah,
it
is. He's always smiling.
He
finds a way to piss you off, right?
Besides his MSU Empire little spiel, he all right. He all right, man. That's my guy.
MSU is the Rebel Alliance.
Yes.
And they,
Friday night.
The Empire keeps building Death Stars. We keep destroying them, but they keep building another one.
All right, before we get out of it, all right, so Michigan State, do you got a feel on what they're going to do this year? Throw a win-loss out there.
They will be a winning program, but not by much.
I say 6-6 because the schedule is terrible. Like, honestly, Michigan, what do you think Michigan's going to do?
I think that Michigan has a real sneaky chance to win the division, the conference, excuse me. When you look at Oregon, who's the favorite, I know that they played a pretty strong brand of football, but they're still coming to learn smash mouth football in smash mouth in the Big Ten. And it's going to take some time for them to adjust. I think that the Big Ten comes down to that fateful day when the Crimson take on the Maize.
I'm stuck between 9-3 and 10-2 for Michigan. I think they're going to lose to Ohio State and Oregon. The Texas game is the one I'm going back and forth on. Can Texas come up to Ann Arbor and make that big statement earlier? You know, Sarkisian's putting a lot into it, but so I'm kind of stuck on that. But we got to get out of here. KG, thank you. Always a pleasure, my friend.
My guy.
Pete, you are doing like triple duty today. Like, I don't think people understand what Pete was doing behind the scenes.
He's the boss.
Back here
Sam's always doing a bunch of stuff over here. The boys will be back in tomorrow. Anson, it's always a pleasure.
Always.
Most importantly, you. Thanks for joining us here. You are what makes Woodward Sports work. Till next time, I'm Sean. Peace.